Hello everyone, it's me Harry, and today we're on to day 7 of the Mediavent Calendar. But prior to this, I wanted to show off 2 games that I'd forgotten to show off in the last part. And that's Create Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. There we are, a game from Cube Interactive or Cube Software and published by Electronic Arts and Lego Interactive. And the other one is the PC version of Bionicle the game. So yeah, I didn't show those off because I've forgotten about them and also due to time. Now, I've also contained disc 2 within this little leaf sleeve, which it's not the one that comes with the game. I just added it in because it was an EA published title, so I thought it would make sense that way. So let me put that back up, and now let's get to the actual games we're taking a look at today. And what do you think they are? Yep, as what the title says, this is the rest of the Disney game collection that I didn't show off in the GameCube video. So, let's get this done with. So, I'm going to start off with a whole bunch of PC games first. So we're starting off with A Bug's Life action game, released in 1998, but this is a 2000 re-release under the Disney Classics banner. Developed by Traveller's Tales, who did most of Pixar's licensed games at the time. So Disney Classics was the lineup of games that were, well, they were budget reissues of previous titles. There we are. Distributed by Infogrames. So yeah, Infogrames did distribute in the UK at least for about a year. I think they distributed in a few other territories as well. But aside from that, the manual and the disc are the same as the original game. So it's still a dual case sized manual. And the only other thing you got inside was a little Disney Interactive registration card. Win a magical break to Disneyland Paris. And then it would just describe about what the game you bought is like and whatnot. And you can send it away. But obviously with these old thingies, you can't do that anymore. So yep, a fun Pixar experience indeed. I'll put that back where it belongs. Next up is Monsters Inc. Monster Tag, which this was part of a series of like really cheap budget games that would form up to make a bigger game. So this, alongside 4 other titles, were all tie-ins to Monsters Inc. So here we are, and they were all released, I think, around 2002. None of them have any manuals, they just have a guide to install it. They work pretty decently on modern Windows. Here is Monsters Inc. Billiard Beast. The second game in the Rec Room arcade lineup. So it's just a simple game of billiards. Mine doesn't have a little manual this time. Scream Alley. This version of the game actually came with, I think it came with a with the DVD or the VHS release of Monsters Inc. It has a W.H. Smith logo on it, so as I said, it's a promotional release. There's no Electronic Arts symbol on this one, so this might have been distributed through W.H. Smith itself. And there's the disc. And then the other game was also part of Rec Room Arcade, was Monsters Inc. Pinball Panic. And it says on the bottom, collect all 4 minigames to unlock a 5th secret game. So, yeah. And there's the Electronic Arts logo. So, I think EA only distributed in the UK. Other publishers distributed the game elsewhere. And now here comes another Monsters Inc. game, Scare Island, also from 2002. This is a port of the PS1 title of the same name, developed by Artificial Mind and Movement. And then on the back of that is an ad for Disney's Extremely Goofy Skateboarding and Atlantis the Lost Empire Trial by Life. I mean, Disney's Atlantis the Lost Empire Trial by Fire or something. I can't read it. It's very hard. There we are. And then by that point, Disney Interactive switched their distributor for their games over to Ubisoft. And as such, we have the cult classic Treasure Planet Battle at Procyon. I've had this game for quite a long time. So here we are. There's the disc and the manual. The back just lists down how to play the game. There's no adverts on it. Brother Bear. So this is developed by No Wonder, the same company that developed the Harry Potter PC games at the time. And it does, I think, use the same game engine. A lot of No Wonder's titles used the same engine. And this came out in 2003, once again as a tie-in to the Brother Bear movie. Interestingly enough, there was no console release of this one. And then here's an ad for older Disney PC games that were re-released under the Disney Classics banner. Pooh's Party Game, Peter Pan, Monsters Inc. Scare Island, 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue, Cinderella Doll's House, and The Lion King 2. And what was also inside is a little catalogue that contains other Disney products and whatnot. I might do a separate video on this catalogue because it's actually a lot more detailed than I would do so in this video, and it would just drag this video on a bit longer than it should. Then lastly for the PC lineup is Cars, the video game, released by THQ. Yeah, THQ and developed by Rainbow Studios. There we are, released in 2006, alongside the console versions. Here we are. So that's the PC games all done. Now let's go over to the console games and a handheld game too. So we'll start off with Disney Story Studio Mulan, which was released in 1999. It's a console port of the PC game, and it obviously feels like it was made for the PC in mind. And strangely enough, it does not support the PlayStation mouse, which is kind of weird for a point-and-click game. So, like what you'd expect with other games in this lineup, it retells the story of Mulan. So here is the disc. Here's the manual. The back just has a map on it. And then the little leaflet has an ad for the DualShock controller and the memory card in blue colours, which is what you'd expect for a game published by Sony. And then there's an ad for Bugs Life action game, Bugs Life activity play, Disney's Tarzan, and Magical Tetris Challenge, which were all published by Sony as well, because obviously this is a Sony published game. It wouldn't make any sense elsewise. Disney's The Little Mermaid 2, released in 2001. Once again published by Sony and developed by Blitz Games. Now, this is an interesting case because while it is named after the film of the same name, it's actually a retelling of the original film and the sequel. So that way, you get to play as either Ariel or Melody. So, there we are. Let me open it up. So here we are. There's the manual. It advertises Walt Disney's The Jungle Book Groove Party, which was published by Sony on the PS1. And its Dance Mat controller. Available November 2000. So I think this game came out a little earlier, actually. Not 2001. And then there's ads for Jungle Book Groove Party, Disney's Aladdin in Narissa's Revenge, and the platinum versions of A Bug's Life and Tarzan. Let's put this back. Disney's Goofy's Funhouse, developed by the Code Monkeys and published by New Kid Co. And Ubisoft in 2001. So this is a platforming adventure game where you control Goofy around his house and you find things and you unlock 6 cartoons along the way. Like, that was pretty good for the time if you didn't have a DVD player or whatnot, but nowadays you can just easily watch the cartoons on streaming or something, but it was still quite a cool idea regardless. And there's also an ad for Extremely Goofy Skateboarding on the back, which came out, in 2001 as well. It's one of the better games from New Kid Co., but still nothing spectacular. Disney's Party Time with Winnie the Pooh, developed by Doki Denki Studio and published once again by Sony, released in 2001. So this is a party game made for very young children with Winnie the Pooh and his friends. It advertises the multi-tap on the back, and then the back of the manual advertises the Atlantis the Lost Empire video game, and it's styled like the cover art for some reason. I don't know why, but there you go. And there's the disc. And then lastly for the PS1 selection is Monsters Inc. Scare Island, released in 2002. Developed by Artificial Mind and Movement as with the PC version, but this is the original version of the game. There's an ad for Peter Pan Adventures in Neverland, which came out a few months later. And there was also an ad for the memory cards. So, yeah. Good stuff indeed. And then that's that all done. Now, let's go over to the PlayStation 2 titles, as I do have quite a few of those. Oh. Yeah, the disc was loose on one of them. So we'll start off with the PlayStation 2 port of Monsters Inc. Scare Island. This is a limited edition version which came in different packaging and came with a set of art cards. Once again, published by Sony and developed by Artificial Mind and Movement, and came out in 2002 on the same day as well. So it's got some special artwork on the packaging, and then when you open it up, you get some art cards. So you have the manual. You get a little leaflet that explains the making of the game. The making of the film. And then there's the art cards. Pretty nice, really. Yeah, I think I'll close this when I've got more time. Because right now, I don't have any time. Right then, what else is there? Oh yes, I forgot to grab some other titles. Let me just grab them right now. There we are. I knew there was something missing. And here we are. So here is Disney's Dinosaur. So this was released in 2000. It was a very early PlayStation 2 title. And it's a port of the other versions of the same game, developed by Ubisoft Paris. And then, of course, published by Ubisoft. Pretty bad game, actually. It's so boring and bland. You'd expect for a Disney licensed game that it would be entertaining, but this game is not. There we are. And then the other title is, there we are, put it. It's Walt Disney's The Jungle Book Groove Party. So it was ported to the PlayStation 2 a few months after the PS1 version. But this time Ubisoft published it instead of just simply developing it, like with the PS1 version in Europe. I find it weird that Sony published that version, but Ubisoft resumed and just published the PlayStation 2 version. Don't know why, but there you go. And then on the back of the manual is an ad for Disney's Dinosaur and Donald Duck Quack Attack. Now we're on to another Sony-published game, Peter Pan, The Legend of Neverland, from Blue 52 Games and published by Sony, released in April 2002 as a tie-in to the Return to Neverland movie, although it shares a different story to that. Pretty fun action-adventure game, pretty difficult, I'd say. There we are, there's the manual and the disc. Back back of the manual has an ad for the PlayStation 2 memory card, and there's Captain Hook. Here is Disney Golf, which is actually a sequel to the game, what was it called? Swing Away Golf. It's from the same developer, T&E Soft, and published by Sony, no, not Sony, Electronic Arts. So this was during the brief period when EA published a few Disney Interactive titles under a co-publishing deal. And the back does indeed have the Electronic Arts helpline that I showed off on the Namco games that they published. The interesting bit about this game is that while it is a Mickey Mouse and Friends title, Mickey Mouse himself isn't even playable. Instead, his little nephew Morty Fieldmouse is playable instead of him. Mickey's your golf caddy. I still find that incredibly strange. Why have Mickey Mouse as your golf caddy? You could have had any other character, but nope. T&E Soft or Disney Interactive decided, we'll put Mickey as your golf caddy so you can see him all the time. Yeah, that's still weird. Disney's Treasure Planet, based on the 2002 underrated film, developed by Bizarre Creations and published by Sony again, released in 2003. It's a different game to the PS1 version, which I don't own, as you've already seen. I don't really own many Disney PS1 games, even though I do wish I could own more of them. And then the last of the PS2 titles in this video is Power Rangers Super Legends, developed by Artificial Mind and Movement and published by Disney Interactive Studios, released in 2007. It was a game that was made to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the Power Rangers franchise. And so it stars Power Rangers from all different incarnations. The DS version has a separate lineup of Rangers, but some are shared between that and the PS2-PC version of the game. So there you go. And then next up is my only original Xbox Disney title, and that's Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure, developed by Toys for Bob, published by Activision, and reuses the same engine from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. But this time we have Disney characters in it as well. Those from Tarzan, Toy Story, and The Lion King. And you can even make your own human skaters as well. Use the power of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game engine. So that is pretty interesting. It's technically what Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 would have ended up being. But this is a much more kid-friendly title. So, yeah. Good game indeed. And now for the only 3DS title I have, it's Finding Nemo Escape to the Big Blue, which is a strange, re-release port of the DS game of the same name from Ultron, originally published by THQ. This game was published by Disney Interactive Studios, and it replaces the still frames from the film with clips from the film. And this came out in 2013 to promote the Finding Nemo 3D re-release. So Disney went all in on that. Nothing much to say about this. This is the only 3DS Disney game I own. So, yeah. And then last but not least are the Xbox 360 titles. Oh, hold it. There's one more to show off. This is one I missed out in the GameCube video. Power Rangers Dino Thunder, developed by Pacific Coast Power and Light and published by THQ. So this is based on Power Rangers Dino Thunder. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say about that. They released Dino Thunder as a console game instead of a handheld game like the other Power Rangers titles were at the time. Now for the Xbox 360. And we're going to start off with a game you wouldn't expect Disney to publish, and it's Pure, a four-wheeler racing game from Black Rock Studio, which was formerly known as Climax Brighton, released in 2008. So this is one of the strange cases of a Disney-branded game that's not got anything to do with Disney or feels like something Disney would do. The back has an ad for the long shutdown Pirates of the Caribbean Online. But yeah, pretty odd if you'd ask me. And then Black Rock Studio did their second title for Disney, Split Second Velocity, a really hectic racing game that's meant to take place in the style of a reality TV show. So it's got a very creative kind of idea for a video game, a racing video game. I like it. It's quite cool indeed. Although it still feels like something you wouldn't expect Disney's name to be on. And last but not least is Cars 2, released in 2011 to tie in with the film. Although the game, I think, takes place after the events of the film. But regardless, it's got characters from it that you can race around as and whatnot. And then here is the disc. It's developed by Avalanche Software. And as before, published by Disney Interactive Studios. There's an ad for the Cars 2 movie. And a Disney Movie Rewards points thing. Useless these days because of Disney Movie Rewards no longer being a thing. But that's the end of my Disney video. So what could the next day bring up? I have no idea. You'll just have to see next time. See you everyone. Bye for now.